So, of course, the talk of the town for the last, man, feels like 5 weeks, but it's been a week and some change, has been GameStop. So I want to walk you through the truth behind how the game is rigged and you can still win anyway. The first thing I need you to know off the top is that the game is not designed for us to win. You have to accept that going into it. So when I was on with Vic and Trap last week, I was like, listen, it's like if you ever play ball and you went to state, if you play outside of your district or your county, you have to win by 10 or 15. You can't get away with one free throw and hope things are going to go in your favor. And this applies here to us as retail traders, right? So let's go. And let's break down what really happened on GameStop. And first, I want to say I love the revolution I've been a retail trader since 2010. I love the revolution, but we have to realize also that Robinhood helped drive millions of people into the market. But some of you are getting finessed. Be real with you. Retail traders did not stop this movement, but so I want to give you guys a quick breakdown about what really happened. So, and then you can see if this ever happens again, you won't be able to be caught off guard, right? So, deep value, if you guys who are on Wall Street Bets, started to trend in June 19th of 2019. Michael Burry of Big Short fame picks up a significant position August 22nd of 2019. So this is tip number 2. Before you invest in a company, you need a lead investor that is a catalyst for other people to pile behind. So in your notes or in chat, please type lead investor. So Michael Burry, because he had the Big Short, he solidified this being an okay investment. August of 2020, Ryan Cohen gets a 10% stake. Great job for him. Ryan decides to give away a couple board seats. And now we're getting a fundamental case for why this is okay to invest in. And like I said, all my gamers, you can download things on PSN. You can download them on an Xbox platform. Not that many people are actually going to GameStop. I know Rashad, your son does. Xander maybe go for a PlayStation controller too. But at scale, more people are buying online. Then January 19th, Citron says they're going short because they did have a good fundamental case for the company not being good. So now you have a research company that does take positions, long and short, usually it's to the short side. Now they have a following. Now they're going to pile in. Right. So now it bounces up. Now we have a gamma and FOMO squeeze. So the gamma is the institutional side. FOMO is the investor side. And then all of a sudden, Robinhood needs more money. They have to sell a lot of the other stocks. And the reason why the market fell last week is because the funds who were getting their asses kicked by holding this position short had to liquidate in order to make funds available. Okay, now you're seeing the pressure from Reddit and everyone's taking off. Great. The Wall Street Bets collective bought it. But the thing that you guys are not seeing is that a lot of the people, and I've been on Wall Street Bet for years. Type yes in chat if you've been on Wall Street Bets and you are of a darker hue. I'm going to be real. Not many of us were on there, right? So 0.72 and Melvin Capital get squeezed. They're buddies, but you have to, now this is the game inside the game. So if you ever watch Billions, you've seen this happen. People don't like Steve Cohen because he is perceived to be arrogant. So what you're seeing is hedge fund beef. So if Melvin Capital is 50, 0.72 is Lloyd Banks, you have everybody from Lil Wayne and Young Money teaming up against them to drive them out of business. This happened before with Bill Ackman, Carl Icahn, and Herbalife. This has happened before with Vertex. It's happened a few times before. So I need you to be mindful of that. And then Robinhood didn't have the margin to take care of it. They could have almost went bankrupt, and that's why they stopped the buys to help protect, of course, Citadel. I know they're saying it's not. Okay, now let's screenshot this. The guy who started this trend was not a retail trader. Look at this. Now, I don't want him to get in trouble. I'm sure he has some concerns, but look at what he has a Series 24, an SIE, Series 7, Series 3 futures, Series 63, Series 65. That's not a retail trader. That's a pro trader that worked inside of an institution that started the trend. And this one thing I want you guys to be careful, and I wanted to save it to the end. For those of you that are just jumping on Wall Street Bets, and this is your first time being online, And I'll let Rashad back in because he's an advisor and he had to pass these tests too. You cannot go online and prop up your position by posting your statement because it is an inducement for a person to get into security. My biggest fear is that all of you jumped on Wall Street bets and you're going to get indicted. That platform was not built for us. So unless you were on Parler or unless you were storming the Capitol, I remember when it was not comfortable for us to be there. So be mindful. And I need you guys that are posting and trying to build brands to understand what the regulations are around that as well. So let's check this out real quick.
They didn't stop people from selling. They only stopped people from buying. So they shut down one side of the trade. And the effect of that was we had these hedge funds from Wall Street. They were on the ropes, right? I mean, let's discuss who these guys are. These are the apex predators of Wall Street. They are in the business of shorting companies to destroy them. I mean, that is their business model. And they are not academic traders, okay, who are just speculating on outcome. They engineer the outcome, right? Look at their tactics. Just watch the show Billions, right? They hire PR people. They hire private investigators. They're participating on these message boards, spreading disinformation. Look at the year of hell that Elon went through, right? They tried to destroy
it's like 5
Tesla.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They try to destroy companies to engineer that outcome. They create nothing. They are in the business of destruction. Now, the beautiful thing is you had these Reddit kids, these pirates, who published this manifesto, right, on Reddit, basically being the heirs to Occupy Wall Street. They recognize, look, occupying like a physical space does nothing to these guys. We are going to hurt them where it counts in their pocketbook. We are going to get together and we're going to basically create a trade mob that's even bigger than their cartel. And they did. They got 2.7 million people taking the other side of this trade. And then when the hedge funds doubled down, they said, fuck you. We're going to triple down. And
I want to stop there. What if that some of these people were sent into these funds and they used us as liquidity to get out of these positions? I always say it, financial information is never funneled to African Americans first. If you know of an instance, please type it in chat or text Rashad. I don't know of one. But when you're seeing people with all these licenses and then they are using press to get this out, I'll get to it later. Everyone always has an angle. So be very, very mindful when you're trading. And I'm not upset if you guys got into this trade. I'm happy if you did. Some of you made some big money off of this, but I want you to see all sides of the game. And when money is involved, the rules are not always fair. So I talked about it. Chamath will take profit. And I like Chamath a lot. But when he jumped onto the bandwagon as well, and then sold the next day and gave the money to charity, it was to also build his brand and to be in favor with us as the people. So be mindful of that. Now, if I'm wrong about where the price will drop to, the first person that screenshots this, I'll give away the money here on Market Mondays. I promise you that. But I'm comfortable in saying that we're going to drop hard. And I sent this to the group chat when we was in New York. You have to always be leery of institutions posing as retail traders, and they have to exit in February. I need you to Google, when in March do hedge funds start to allocate capital to the market? Homework assignment number 1. Number 2, when does the Fed start to inject money into the market? There is a reason that the market recovered in 2020 in March, and then in the last Great Recession, it recovered in March. Look how close those dates were together. There is rationale there. Please go do your homework, as Troy would say, and you can find out why. Please write this down. I don't know if this is tip number 5 or number 6. The institutions will never play fair. It has to factor into your game plan. We talked about it on episode 70. So when you are the original asset that is traded, you have to factor this into your plan. Why are you shocked that the system tried to pull something over on you? Just to say to the game. And the excitement that you guys feel, I felt this way for years. This is why I've always preached being able to long-term invest and short-term invest. But you have to realize when you go against institutions, they are going to want to hit back at some point. GameStop at some point is going to drop to 143. It was a hell of a crash today. Let's market, give it till March, and let's see if we're at that spot. And I want to make sure, and the same kudos to Andrew, But the reason why we're beating this drum, and we talked about it last week, I want you guys to be safe. For my traders, some of you have the stance like I or Troy or Rashad that don't want you to make money, but you're not getting the calls about people that are in this and they're down and they put half of their life savings into it. So you have to be careful to just let the people know if you're in a trade, you're in a trade, but this is not a good investment. And for my traders, I want to tell you this. Troy, Rashad, and I like you. We're not here to compete against you. We are here to uplift the community. We were one of the first ones in the space to be able to do this. So take the information, apply it. If you don't like something, great. Go back to your plan, but we're actually here to help you a lot. So I want you to look at this. I want you to Google tip number 7, what a dead cat bounce was. And we're going to do chart time later. But when a stock rallies up 200%, 300%, there's usually a drop that happens. After that drop, my technicians know this, you usually have a dead cat bounce. It'll go anywhere from 40 to 60% up before the downslide. So it's a pattern that you need to be aware of when a stock is taken off too fast so you can start to cover. Okay? And this is what I want to stress for us tonight. Can we please move in silence? Some of us in the community are announcing our moves and we're talking about takeovers and we're talking about it on platforms that we do not own. I'm asking you to be careful because what good does it do for you to make all this money if you then end up getting into trouble or you then end up being involved in a pumping up yourself? Please be very careful. I'm saying this for a bigger reason, and please read in between the lines. And then all of a sudden, you guys couldn't close out of your positions. I was screaming on the phone to Trap, Matt, Rashad, and Troy, put limit orders in. Because I would hate for you guys to be in a good trade. And all of a sudden, you're in a profitable trade, but your broker won't let you close out. Some of you have never been in a winning trade and then got told, hey, you won't be able to get your money. It's the only reason that I don't like certain asset classes. So please be mindful of that. Write this down. On every trade you take, you must have a limit order when you want to exit. Kudos to Vic. I believe in free and fair markets, but we do not dictate access. You have to realize when we're trading, it's on a platform that we don't own and things can go wrong. So please be mindful of that. And we come here every week to give you the best advice for free so we can help you. Because I remember in 2008, I've told you guys, when a recession happened, I didn't know what to do. So we are here to help. But the only thing that I ask you guys in return in terms of payment is to apply the information, ask great questions so we can help. Because I want all of us to have freedom. And this is a travesty because when they got into a margin area, they didn't have enough money. I know it's easy to beat up on Robinhood now, but they didn't have the capital required for the clearinghouses. I need you guys to go read your disclosure statements because a broker can go out of business. Let me ask you a question. If you have 10,000 to 100,000 in a broker and the broker goes out of business, what happens to your money? Do you know? I need you to go look at other cases when brokers have went out of business and how long did it take? This is a part of the game that is not talked about. So when I'm screaming, be careful in your trades, these are some of the experiences that I've went through. And if you look at your disclosure statements, it says clearly that they can close your position at any time. Elon went crazy on Clubhouse last night. He locked all the rooms up. But Elon said it so you guys can now rock with it. Buy and hold companies that make good and services that you love. For me, it still needs to be a top 5. Okay, so I know some of you ask, well, does that change your thesis about just buying what you love? No, it needs to be a top 5 company, nevertheless, right? And kudos to you for being up on Novavax. I need you guys to put Novavax on your watch list. When we do chart time, if we have time, I'll try and go over some areas where you can get in. But when a stock takes off like how it did last year, it probably could have another 6-month run, and I want you to be able to catch some of that upside. And this is the part that I do love about the Wall Street Bets movement and that we've quietly tried to cultivate over the last year. If we can work together and we can own these companies and sit in the board meetings, we can have change. that actually happens. I hate to break it to some of you, but the only way we can actually get change to happen in our community is if we own some of these companies and we have money to put behind it. Politically, if you don't have any money invested, politicians do not care what we have to say. So what I want us to do is the community decide the 10 companies that we're going to drive money into, support, so we can have a seat at the table. So I want you to put in chat right now in YouTube and in Zoom, what are the 10 companies you think we should be a part of collectively as a family, so we may be able to have a say. Okay. Every trade that runs off like this, I want you to always go look and see how many hedge fund traders were in on that trade. And tonight I'll reveal to you how you can go look up what hedge funds are actually invested in. Okay. So I need to do a survey. How many of you before these last 2 weeks actually were on Wall Street bets if you were Black and Latino? If you were not, type no. If you were, type yes. Jamal made a very great point. 2021 was made by the retail investors identifying a dislocation in the market. I truly believe this is the best class of retail investors ever on earth. Pat yourself on the back. But I want to make sure that we're getting into good trades and know when to exit. And if we're buying companies, we know when to how long to hold them, because I do not want you to get screwed. You have to accept we're always going to get used. That has to factor into your trading plan, your investing plan. But once you have that, you're good and you can hedge for that. And kudos to my guy, Jeff. We don't have the power to move a stock like this. So I want to do an experiment. I want everybody watching this today and everybody watching on replay tomorrow. I want you to buy one share of Nike. Because some of you were screaming at me, no, it's power to the people. Hold a line. Great. Who can't? No one Black says hold a line. When?
They had Ja Rule saying it today.
He was on CNBC. Shout out to Chris Gotti.
Shout out to
Gotti. Yeah, I won't be disrespectful, Gotti. I see you. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being solid. I'll leave it at that.
They said Netflix is recording Fire Festival 2 with Ja Rule holding the line.
Hey, listen. I never heard him say it when he was beefing with 50. So, it wasn't no hold the line. It was clap back and other stuff. Come on now. So, and Buffett said it's not about time in the market. It's about time in the market. But I think you should have both. But I do think, as Jamal stated, we should be incentivized for. And then at some point, there's going to have to be regulation about how much leverage can be taken on. For my brokers that are listening, be more responsible in the type of clients and customers that you have that you let trade on margin. Because when things go wrong and you mess up, your client base is not going to understand, we needed capital. You said that you were going to deliver a service. If you did not do it, that is on you. I'm sorry. But this is the way the game is played. And I want you to stress this. No matter who you run across in investing, everyone has an angle. Everyone. Please write this down. The brokers, the investors, the hedge funds, the people who publish the reports, even I. My angle is to make you so much, or to do right by you so much, that whenever I need to call upon you for a favor, I can get my favor granted. But you have to take in consideration, when you're getting information, is it valid? Not many people are going to come to your doorstep or hop on social and give you advice that's actually going to make you a bunch of money. So for those of you that got into GameStop, AMC, Nokia, for those who got in Doge over the weekend and took profit, great. For those who still in it, I'm sorry. But use the information to your benefit, but realize that everyone that you encounter does have an angle.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.